timer. She did. Say that again.
3 minutes.
I think Ava. Yeah. Well, she's already been out with a concussion earlier. Yeah. Yep. She said she might not be, though.
Of 21-11 and a 10-8 mark in Big East play, the St. John's Red Storm. Versus number 4 seed with an overall record of 18-12 and a 10-8 mark in the Big East, the DePaul Blue Demon. At this time, please rise and remove your caps as we honor America with the singing of our national anthem. Members of the armed forces and veterans who are present but not in uniform may render the military salute. Singing her rendition of the Star Spangled Banner is Jersey Whizzing.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight were the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the brave and the home of the
The final stop on the road to the 2024 Big East Volleyball Championship is Omaha, Nebraska. And today, hopes of taking home the hardware are on the line in the first round of the Big East tournament. There's a look at the bracket for 2024. DePaul, St. John's, UConn, Villanova in the first round. Winners move on to take on Creighton and Marquette. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the floor here at DJ Sokol Arena on the campus of Creighton University. I'm John Schreiner. Alongside me today, Shannon Smolinski. Well, the 4-5 matchup kicks things off for us here today. St. John's and DePaul, very evenly matched teams. They split the season series with each winning on their home floor. And Shannon, you see a lot of similarities between these two and how they got here.
I do. Both have two players that could easily come in and dominate and take over the match, both in Jones and Presley. And Presley's having statistically her best season of her career. And Jones, she's a jack of all trades. So excited to see both of them tonight.
Hopes of advancing in the postseason and taking home a Big East title begin here today. It's the Big East tournament on Flow Sports. brought to you by Invesco QQQ, the official ETF of the Big East. Beautiful fountains in downtown Omaha. Not a day to be out in the fountains, though, here in the Omaha Metro. Colder weather has made its way in finally, and that usually means that there is big-time volleyball to be played. We got a big one for you here today. The 4-5 matchup in the opening round of the Big East tournament. Here are the starting lineups. First, the Red Storm of St. John's. You already mentioned it. Erin Jones, she broke the Big East Conference record for triple doubles this season. She's a Swiss Army knife.
She is. She does it all for them. She sets, she defends. She's offensively leading the team with 434 kills. So she's going to be one to definitely keep an eye on for the Storm.
And the longtime head coach, Joanne Persico, 31st season at the helm. On the other side for the Blue Demons, it's another outside hitter, Jill Presley. We watched her in warm-ups. She can absolutely hammer the volleyball.
Yeah, she might not be the one that jumps off the floor when it comes to size, but she definitely comes in with a lot of presence.
And again, these two split the season series. There is Joanne Persico. She founded the program at St. John's and had such a great conversation with her this week. And the passion that she exudes for the game just comes through.
30 years ago, as building that university from the ground up in volleyball, and so just to see what she does not only for St. John's but just for volleyball in general. You got to love seeing two female coaches out there growing the sport, growing the game within their respective schools. And
Marie Zedek, the other head coach, in her 8th season at the helm. She's been very intentional about the way she has built this program from a squad that didn't have a lot of success to getting to this point, being consistently in the Big East tournament.
Yeah, and she hasn't just been in the Big East, so she's seen it from a different lens, being at San Diego and in the WCC. So she kind of knows, what style of play is works for her, whether it be, schematically or whether it be, how we're working on our skills. She definitely knows what she wants to do within her staff, and as long as with recruiting as well.
Both teams finished 10-8 in league play. DePaul 18-12 overall. St. John's 21-11. Of course, the Red Storm last season upset the 2-seed Marquette, made it to the Big East Championship final where they lost to Creighton in a sweep. And both of these teams were competitors in the NIVC and won a first-round match a season ago. So the trajectory for both schools is definitely upward.
To be able to play those last 3 weeks and be able to build that momentum going into the next season, it's super important.
And credit Lucrezia Lodi, she of San Lazzaro di Savena, Italy. The roster for St. John's is interesting. A lot of 8 international players on that side. The
volleyball, why not?
And a big block by Lodi on that far side to make it 2-0 St. John's.
He's doing a really good job sealing that one-on-one, hands being low and over.
But it's blocked. It's a point to DePaul.
And it's interesting to see how St. John's is defending DePaul, putting a triple block. But you see right here, DePaul coming back with a block of their own.
They set Lodi again. She puts another one away.
It's a really good set there by Jones, just a very low, flat tempo set. And if they're able to stay consistent with getting their setters on the net, they're going to be very successful here today.
This is Victoria Kowalczyk, senior setter out of and Megan Scholes puts it away.
A beautiful route there by the sophomore from Wisconsin, staying behind her setter, connecting really well, seeing that one-on-one opportunity, finishing with that thumb down.
Freshman setter Amanda Sager now into serve. Got it.
Presley learning from the first swing. St. John's is in what we call a rotational defense. So they'll take that right side, they'll bring him behind the block. And you see here that middle back playing down the line, but she gets a little bit of seam to work with and goes for it.
Puts it down.
Keep feeding her. You can run your middles. That will lead to a ton of success. So really good ball control from the back court in DePaul to set that up for success there.
An early St. John's lead. DePaul's gain.
Another really good block there by Presley, her second so far in this set. Just a really good disciplined setup, working that outside hand to press back into zone 6. Textbook.
5-3 DePaul. It's in. And DePaul, a brief protest. But the point's good for St. John's. They cut the lead to 1. Lucrezia Lodi, junior. She was all Big East last year, all freshman in 22. Possesses.
And it's interesting to see St. John going after Krasowski, the Big East libero of the year, doing a really good job back there handling that first contact, which is allowing DePaul to be on the net. And that's where we're seeing a lot of these quick side outs.
And here's Presley. Off the tape. She's got an ace. Sometimes better lucky than good.
Just doing a little at a time, whether it be behind the service line, from the block defensively and even offensively. Talked about her early, and she's doing a really nice job here for the Blue Demons.
And that one long. Point to St. John's. That ace for Presley was her 31st of the season. She leads that category for the team by a wide margin. DePaul last in the league in service aces this year. Yunku.
It's a good idea to try to see if Yunku could work on the outside edge of that block. This was unsuccessful, as Red Storm did a really nice job with that block setup.
By Lodi, but unable to get it back over the net. It's a point to DePaul.
Really good effort there by St. John's to try to keep that alive. But again, we're seeing the DePaul block doing a really good job, not only with just their ace blocks, but also getting really solid block touches. Both teams being aggressive behind the service line. So it'll be interesting to see if she goes back at her and if she plays with her depth, whether it's going deep or maybe trying to drop it in front of her. She just does a really nice job of finding ways to score. You see right here, she sees she has the 4 hands, but the block setup is a little wide as that set fell short right inside, and she was able to have that whole right sideline to be successful with.
Now Jones to serve it. Presley out of the back row. Too much heat.
Too much heat, and she even did that with 3 blockers, was able to find a seam. Just doing, like I said, little by little, everything that she can for her Blue Demons.
(10-7) DePaul here in set 1, opening match of the 24. Cross court swing, got the touch. Good shot from Allie Kindleberger. And that prompts a timeout as the lead has grown to 4 for DePaul. Joanne Persico wants to talk things over as the Blue Demons off to a hot start here in set 1. Another look at the bracket here for 2024. Ball, St. John's, UConn, Villanova. How about the turnaround for UConn? They won 3 league games. They get the 3 seed this season. That's blocked on the far side. Kindleberger couldn't get it through, and that is good out of the timeout for St. John's.
And that's exactly what you want to see from Coach Persico, is your athletes coming out and having a quick side out with a really quality block setup here. Seeing if they can get on a run.
And that'll be a point to St. John's, so back-to-back out of the timeout. Good call from Coach Persico.
I think just tightening up the things that they have control over. Not only that, but also where can we be a little bit more aggressive and a little bit more.
And Lucrezia Lodi has looked like a significant attacking threat here in the early going.
And St. John has the ability to play with pace. And so if they can continue to ball handle and serve aggressive and keep their foot on the gas with playing pace, I mean, that will be something that will wear out the Blue Demon.
Jones having some trouble right now. It's about the 3rd time we've seen her mishandle a pass, Shannon.
Defensively, DePaul is attacking that area 1. So whether it be the setter back there in Jones or Kowalczyk, they've been very successful there.
A 6'3" middle out of Poland.
And St. John has the physicality, and so whether they can tighten up that first contact to allow for that, that's what they're going to need to see as we get middle of the way here in set 1.
12-11 DePaul. And St. John's unable to get it across inside the antenna, but Rashani Solano-Smith, how about the effort?
A really good effort there. They chase down that ball, but again, John, we're seeing another ball handling error from St. John's on that first contact. And
Ska's blocked. Again, it's Presley and Scholes on the near side.
a really good discipline there by Presley to read that attack, see the line of attack, go one-on-one. Just a really well done job there by Presley in her eye sequence.
Good serve from Krasowski. The lead had slipped down to 1. They extend it back to 4, just like that.
Just doing the little things. First contact, block setups. You have to stay disciplined throughout each set. Just doing.
She's been their best attacker so far.
And for those of you that are watching from home, it really is just going to come down to who is able to put their setters on the net and who is able to control that first contact. And while that sounds really easy, it comes down to who can also be aggressive. So we'll see here from behind the service line if they're able to plus that touch and bring those setters off the net.
Serve from other way. Oh my goodness, Allie Kindleberger.
It's free money anytime you can get that overpass and take it for yourself. Those are a lot of fun.
She made a big deposit with that one on the free money.
That she did. Really good timing too there.
What, me or Allie Kindleberger?
Both.
16-12 DePaul. Lottie blocked but stays on the DePaul side. And St. John's fighting back, 16-13.
We talked about the similarities. The margin of error in this game is just so small, and so both teams are doing some really good things, but it really just comes down to the discipline of whether it be connected
court and placed it well.
Just a mismatch there, reading that the block setup was wide, and again, she will cut it back to that zone 1, being really successful there. Wouldn't be surprised to see DePaul bring that block. Had a really nice game for DePaul here in Omaha, whether she's in front of the setter or behind the setter. Very balanced in her attack. She's doing a great job here.
Now Jill Presley already. Tried to go to the same spot she just scored, and that one's wide.
DePaul is just doing a little bit better job of digging to transition. Anytime you see long rallies for St. John's, it's typically not going in their favor.
Scholes is scoring just about every time she touches it.
And that's just because, you see a dig to transition where you give a free ball, controlled down ball, you're just going to feed right into the middle's hands for DePaul.
Second timeout called by St. John's. They trail by 5 here in the first set.
DePaul University students aren't just preparing for the real world, they're living in it. 98% of new incoming freshmen receive scholarships totaling over $57 million every year. And DePaul helps students find internships, hosting 17,000 every year from leading U.S. companies. Start your future at DePaul. As real as what's next. DePaul University.
Amelia, turn off alarm. Amelia, weather?
70 degrees and sunny today.
Amelia, unlock the door.
I'm afraid I can't do that, Jen.
Why not?
Did you forget something?
My protein shake.
The future isn't scary. Not investing in it is.
You're so dramatic, Amelia.
Bye, Jen.
100 innovative companies.
Back with you here in Omaha, Big East Libero of the Year, Rachel Krasowski, her second All-Big East award. She finished first in the conference in digs again this season. She's top 50 in the country in that category. Well deserving of that award.
Well deserving, and if you're DePaul, it's something that you're so thankful for, to have that court general back there being able to, handle, whether it be on serve receive, whether it be defensively. It's so important in such an I love that she's going for it, though. It's a high risk, high reward. As you mentioned, she came in with an ace earlier, and you don't get those if you're not staying aggressive.
Ludovica Zola out of Milan, Italy. Line, good swing. Luisa Yunku. And DePaul first to 20.
And typically you see St. John defending down that line, and that time they didn't have a defender that rotated over, so she had that line wide open and went for it.
And the big swing from Walter pays off.
Good effort. Extra touch.
St. John's needs to make a run now. Off the touch. There's a point. St. John's, they're within 3.
This game has turned into so much of finding those hands. And if you're a hitter, if you can see a my friend, and a lot of times you see the 4 hands in front of your face, and you want to high roll, tip, work some sort of a range around the block. But if you can get really good at learning how to use the block to your advantage, it's really going to bode well with your hitting accuracy.
And we've talked about how evenly matched these two teams are, and the way they play, and the talent that they have. It's only fitting that they meet here in the first round, the way that the season has shaken out. They come in on a little different paths, though. DePaul lost their final 3 regular season matches. Creighton and Marquette, you could excuse, but they took a set in each of those matches. One of only 2 teams to take a set from Creighton this season for DePaul. But they lost that match 3-1 to Providence. Providence finished at the bottom of the league standings. And I think perhaps, for some, Marie Zedek included, that might have started to ring some alarm bells. But they've come out here today and looked like none the worse for wear. You wouldn't be able to tell that that team's on a 3-game losing streak.
Not at all. You have Presley, hitting really well, hitting 333 and Scholes at 800. But right now they're pretty balanced. But for me, what I see them doing is just the little things well and taking care of their side. And so if they can do that here today and stay consistent with the little things, I think that they have a great shot to potentially play on Friday. That is somebody for St. John's that they needed to have a nice match And she has a lot of unforced errors, whether it be behind the service line or on that first touch. So, you know, sometimes you get those first game jitters when you're in the postseason play. So something that they're going to...
Touched on the way through. Point DePaul.
You know, sometimes when you're running a 6-2 and you have two different setters out there, you might see some hitting efficiencies change as they're connecting with one setter and another. But what I think DePaul does a really good job is both setters run a very balanced and even floor.
Georgia Walter.
Really good shot, but a better set. I mean, again, if they can play with that pace, they're going to find the blockers for DePaul, who have been really successful here today, not being ready, and that's...
For Lucrezia Lodi.
Jones doing a really nice job finding her, just being successful, whether it's in the seam, whether it's a tool, whether working the edges. It's a really good connection there by the two of them.
Lodi 7 kills on 11 swings. She has not made an attack error yet. There's some discussion on the far side. Not sure what it's about, but...
The battle of the bros there in that rally. Both doing a phenomenal job. Allie Kindelberger, all Big East team from Pittsburgh. Really nice line swing.
23-19, Yunku the serve, and she gives it away.
When you get here in the red zone, right? So you're 20-23, you really have to have that balance of staying aggressive, but not handing over any ball handling errors.
Solano Smith, and it's under the net, and it's set point to DePaul.
Who else to go to other than Jill Presley, just doing a really nice job of finishing and attacking and staying balanced in all areas of the floor.
Set number 2 on the way. Can St. John's fight back? We'll find out next.
1 ETF. Before investing correctly, read and consider fund investment objectives, risks, charges, and...
All right. Just ahead of set 2, let's take a look at the top 10. According to the AVCA, Big East representative Creighton there, ranked number 5, highest ranking in school history. And there's a lot of movement potentially to be had today with some ACC teams squaring off this weekend, especially Stanford, Georgia Tech, Pitt, Louisville will play this weekend. There's still a lot to be sorted out in these rankings.
You also have another Big Ten matchup here in the top 4 between Nebraska and Penn State as well. So there's a lot of heavyweight volleyball going on around the country, and you just gotta love to see it.
Creighton still hoping that they can find their way into a top 4 national seed, potentially host the first 2 rounds of the NCAA tournament. And the winner of this one, of course, will go on to play those Creighton Blue Jays who are here in attendance tonight. There you see Kirsten Bernthal-Booth and Josh Steinbach, head coach of Villanova, having a little chat.
a lot of respect you see from all staffs of these 6 teams that are here in Omaha and what they've done together, building the Big East and building it to what it is here today.
It's impressive the amount of long tenured coaches on the programs in this conference. It seems like everybody's 8, 9, 10, 15, 20 years in at the head of their volleyball program.
And what that speaks to is that the institution is really investing in volleyball.
Right.
And so if you're that staff, you're sticking around because there's so much growth happening in the sport. And if you have an institution that believes in that, that's something that makes your job a whole heck of a lot easier.
It's really cool to see. And you know, this conference, the Big East, was not considered a great volleyball conference. They were, you know, down in the rankings when you look at the conferences. Now consistently top 5, top 6 territory as one of the better conferences in the country. Certainly you have Big Ten, SEC, ACC, but sort of right below that, the Big East slots in there nicely.
Yeah, some good volleyball around the Big East, and even here today, watching in set 1, you're seeing a lot of the similarities. You just saw there the comparisons of the stats of what these 2 teams are doing, and you know, while that set kind of felt like it was always in control of by DePaul, I mean, you can easily see where St. John comes out and they're connecting offensively because that's what they do. And all of a sudden it can be flipped. So we're going to see a lot of parity throughout today's matches.
You mentioned it, the ball handling for St. John's was just not up to their usual standard in the first set. Walter trying to go back line. It was too long, and a good hold off by Nora Mannion.
Just coming in a little bit too early, overrunning that ball. So when you're overrunning that ball as a hitter on an out-of-system ball, you're not able to see the block in front of you. And if you can't see
blocked, but it's a point to St. John's.
She definitely saw the blockers on that one. Went right off of the edge of the hand as they were just a little bit too far off of the net and weren't ready for that quick attack. So really good find there from Erin Jones to run that quick.
Borowska had a nice first set. See if they can get her going a little bit more as a compliment. Walter, the float serve dropped like a stone on the back line.
Just nice and clean, as
There's
they call
the word.
it. Flat and clean, and the bottom, you're right, just drops out of it.
It's on the side for St. John's and never got across.
The game is played so much in out of system, and what that means is if the ball is taking that setter on a run, whether it's forward, whether it's off of the net, you have to be able to be efficient as an attacker out of system. And right now, St. John's are really successful when they're in system, but out of system, they're just having some...
Unable to get it in. That's one of those attacks that you were talking about when we were discussing this match pregame, that outside back row attack.
Yeah, it's a D ball. So you have Erin Jones there in the back row, and you have your setter in the...
To DePaul, they lead it 4-2.
DePaul's just done a very nice job finding Scholes. She's just does really great job running route.
From St. John's that doesn't get over the tape, and another 4 contact point to DePaul. That's going to prompt another timeout from Joanne Persico. 5-2. DePaul trying to take control here in the second. Villanova Wildcats in attendance here at DJ Sokol Arena, awaiting their turn to play in the Big East tournament. They will face UConn coming up at the conclusion of this one. And there's a young volleyball fan in attendance. And ooh, that looks like I just have to take this set off and go get myself one of those.
Yeah, looks very, very good.
5-2 DePaul in Johns, and they do. Finally breaking the run. It was Magda Stambrovska able to put it down finally.
A much better job there from Kowalczyk to get her hitters rally.
Presley just scored using the block. They were pressed over, and she just touched it off to get the point.
Sometimes if your blockers are not
It's a couple of swings now from Lottie that haven't crossed the tape. She was so good in set one, and set two's not gone her way.
You talk about high risk, high reward, and we talked about how St. John's does pace. The hitters have to do a better job of staying behind their setters. So while Kowalczyk does need to do a better job of connecting with them, the hitters also have to do a better job. If they're in medium system, which is not out of system or in system, they can still play with pace, but the hitters have to stay behind the ball.
8-3 now, DePaul leading. Another given away, unforced error from St. John's, and Joanne Persico sees it.
St. John's University is a Catholic and Vincentian university that elevates you personally and professionally. With a diverse learning community committed to service in New York City, across the country, and around the globe. And alumni partners and employers invested in your potential and future success. Fuel your passions. Find your purpose at St. John's. Education that elevates.
What is it?
The bus is leaving in 5 minutes.
All right, fine, I'll be out in a second.
You scared the gigabytes out of me.
I scared you.
The future isn't scary. Not investing in it is. 100 innovative companies, one ETF.
I think I might.
Can you do that, Shannon?
I can't, you know, I wish I could, but no, I can't say that I can.
No, I've never been able to spin a ball on my finger either. John Schreiner, Shannon Smolinski here with you. First round of the Big East Volleyball Tournament here in Omaha. DePaul leading 1-0 over St. John's, and they have really stretched it out here in set two. The Red Storm currently hitting negative .333 in this second set. They have 2 kills and for Jill Presley.
And what they needed in this set was to really come back and to put their best foot forward and have some heavy swings, but the battery, the first and second.
Just got it off a hand to get it down.
And as a blocker, you almost don't want to jump on the ball because that's really the only thing that's probably going to get a kill as a tool.
Breaks up the 5-0 run for DePaul. It's still a 6-point lead. Here's Kowalczyk to serve from Junku.
And how Junku is able to do that is she has to be really definitive with her backswing as well as how she's finishing with that hand. So if she just finishes and stops, she's going right into the belly of the block. So she has to be really, really intentional to take that hand and finish a high thumb up, and that's what's going to create that ball to go out of bounds on her side.
Freshman defense. That is maybe something that St. John's has not done enough here in the second, is get the ball to Erin Jones.
She's been really effective for them, especially on that right side pin, and a really good set there by Kowalczyk, just off of one foot, really good tempo. See if that can't fire up that Red Storm.
Cross, Kowalczyk overhead, Jones again, and she scores again.
Keep feeding her. If you're DePaul, you have to put your best foot forward, both block and back row, as you know the ball is going to be going to her.
Aaron Jones is fired up now.
It's a much better job, though, by St. John's in their dig to transition. They did a lot better job of getting off and getting stopped and getting those touches that typically have been falling to the ground. So that was a good fight to see from them.
Will be the setter, Ashley Kudiamont. Back to serve.
You're definitely funneling through subs a little bit quicker than what you would if you were in a setter was in or out, because the hitting efficiency is on their side of the net is pretty stable and very, very clean.
Since that last time out, Shannon, they've set Aaron Jones 3 times and she's scored 3 times.
She's definitely trying to do everything that she can to get some sort of a
blocked. And St. John's coming up with a big defensive point right there.
Georgia Walther, the senior from Italy, doing a really good job of getting those hands over, forcing that presence. And they've got some size, forcing that presence and that will.
Here come the Red Storm.
She's doing a much better job of staying behind that ball, being able to see that cross-court seam being open. So a much better job on out of system there.
Rashani Solano-Smith, sophomore from Costa Rica. She's used the tool to good effect here in the second set.
And typically you would look at Aaron Jones and you would say, okay, she's the mismatch. She's a little bit smaller. Let's go for her. But it's not necessarily because she's smaller that they're going for her. She just needs to do a little bit better job of turning that outside hand in. Her body's still kind of floating outwards to the pin. And that's where DePaul has been pretty successful in going after those hands.
Got it off the block.
So we'll see Aaron Jones rotate to the back row now. So whether they use her out of the back row as a hitter or they have her set, they have so many different options that they can do.
6 kills now for Jones. She is the aces leader for St. John's as well, but that one's not good enough.
They've done a nice job of trying to chip back little by little here in set 2. So as we get to middle of the way, serve and pass on both teams is going to be really important, and not only just making sure that you're
beats Walter to the spot.
Really great range there from Jill Presley. Haven't seen that shot yet, but we call that 4-to-4. She's in area 4, and she's cutting it back to the other side's area 4, and just a really hard ball to defend if you're the other team's left side, as it is just a very sharp cut.
Did get it across, and it falls harmlessly to the court.
Cut shot for a cut shot. I don't know if she drew it up that way. She used the net to her advantage, but it just squeaked over and rolled right in that open space there in area 2.
Far side, that's blocked.
Really good setup there, but you know, you're seeing a lot at this high level where even if you see those blockers in front of you, what you could do is you could recycle it, where you can go into those hands and you can have that back row cover you and then reset it. But you know, Red Storm just wasn't ready to cover.
And Walter unable to get underneath it, and now suddenly it's back to an 8-point lead for DePaul, just as St. John's had fought their way back in. This 5-0 run has the Blue Demons on the verge of running away with the second.
Yeah,
they can make a serving run here. Walter's done a pretty good job from the serving line today.
6 total attempts. The next closest for DePaul out of attempts is 9. I mean, they're definitely using her wherever they can find her. They wanna get this done in 3 sets.
Hey, it's tournament time.
Yep.
Use all the bullets. 19-11. Sager to serve it. But Lucrezia couldn't get there in time. And DePaul leads by 9.
Approaching the red zone. Blockers doing a nice job of sealing. See if DePaul can't stay aggressive and try to rattle off 5 here to
Another huge block for DePaul. The scoring run is now 7-1.
I think that's 7 blocks as well for DePaul, as they're just doing a really good job of scouting and reading what their setter's showing them. The strong suit here for the Blue Demons is that block, as well as Jill Presley.
10 kills, 6 blocks for Presley. First time we've seen it either way, and it was well timed for Victoria Kowalczyk.
When you have that physical of a setter as St. John's does in Kowalczyk, I mean, if you can get her tight on the net, you see there, she has no blockers up with her.
That's an ace for Stembrovska.
You know, I really love the energy that St. John's continues to play with. I mean, we're seeing 22-13, very wide margin, but you're seeing...
Megan Scholes once again. High efficiency attack for Scholes today. She makes it 23-13.
And 750 on the match so far, and had that one-on-one. Saw that she had that one-on-one and just cut it back right into the...
Lodi back in it. She's had a rough go here in the second set, but that was much needed from Lucrezia Lodi.
Slowing the Blue Demons down in any way that they can is going to be important to try to rally the troops. No matter how this set 2 ends up, you definitely want to find a way to just find little things that you can hold on to as you redraw up a game plan to head towards set 3.
Well, now it's set point in the second, with DePaul leading by 10. Scholes to serve it. Into the net.
Never want to miss set point serve. It's like the one thing, even if you're up by...
Just get it over.
As much as you are, that's the one thing you just don't want to miss, set point serve. Open. A lot of range that she's playing with.
Intermission here in the first 25-15 final. St. John's with some work to do out of the intermission locker room. Together.
Well, you know, I have to say, look, St. John's is a really strong team, and we know that we didn't want to get them any daylight. And at the end of the day, we want to be great on their best players. We want to be great on Aaron, great on Lodi, great on Georgia, and our service game has stepped up, and our block has stolen a couple kills. And so we'll see if we can continue that.
Coach, something that I see that you guys are doing so well is your dig to transition, your out-of-system play. What can you talk about in regards to your ball handling and how well your hitters are doing out-of-system?
Well, if you read my release during the week, that was the quote, right? We have to be great and dig to trans, and we have to manage an out-of-system. And our team's just doing a brilliant job of that, but we got to be able to sustain for another hour, 2 hours. We know that St. John's, man, they circle this weekend every year, and so we got to keep that up.
All right, Coach, I'll let you go talk to the team.
Thanks.
That's Marie Zedek, head coach of DePaul. They're in a good spot, leading 2-0 as we head to the intermission. Right out of the gate. All right. DePaul leading St. John's 2-0 here in round 1 of the Big East tournament. And the DePaul fans in attendance, they've got to be happy with what they have seen from Jill Presley. She's been getting it done every which way today. We've seen her score from the outside. We've seen her score from the serving line. We've seen
flying out of the back row and just doing everything that she can here for her Blue Demons. And what I am so impressed is it's just that overall ability to just be a solid, sound volleyball player.
Yeah, and in talking to her head coach, Marie Zedek, this week, she said, Jill runs hot, and I can appreciate that, and I think we're a good match personality-wise, and she's really unlocked some things that maybe Jill Presley didn't have when she came into the college game.
I think it's pretty cool to see that relationship blossom. You know, they almost kind of grew together in their own journey. You know, only second season when she was there, when Jill was there. And so, you know, they both kind of found who they were around the same time in both different journeys. And so, you know, something that's probably an emotional thing if you're coached to see that kind of come to an end, but also very rewarding to see what kind of a player, you know, she's blossomed into.
And right now, the ball on the verge of perhaps punching their ticket. We're going to talk to Joanne Persico, the head coach of the St. John's Red Storm. Coach, down 2-0, what's the message to your team here?
Yeah, I think the message to the team is we've got to hit over 115.
Yeah.
They're hitting 375. So we had some one-on-one opportunities, and we just didn't score the ball. We got blocked a lot. So we really need to work on our transition offense as well as keeping the ball off the floor. We also want to shout out and say thank you to all our Johnny Nation who are watching back home. We know that you love us, and we're really going to try to turn this match around. We know they're on the verge of it, but we've got to have a big reverse sweep. So that's what we're talking about right now.
All right, Coach, no doubt your team's going to give a strong effort here in the third.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. That's Joanne Persico, the Dean of Coaching in the Big East. 31 seasons now at the helm.
A lot of passion that she brings and exudes in volleyball and for St. John's. It's just really cool to see.
Well, we will see what St. John's has to offer here in the third set. They can provide some resistance and avoid getting swept out of the Big East tournament. Toss. And that's an early error from DePaul, giving the point away. St. John's.
The physicality that St. John's has, you're going to want to put that in the front of your priority list of how can we out-physical them right now. And you can't do that.
Touched on the way through.
Really good set there, getting their hitters on top of the net, and that is where they will be able to out-physical them. If they're off the net in any way, and that dig to transition that coaches were talking about, that is going to be a little bit more difficult. But you see here early, St. John
Off the block, big swing.
And it's not just from the serve and pass, you know, so they talked about the dig and transition. So as these rallies unfold, how can their setters work, whether they're on the net or on the go, to really locate and put their hitters in a really good spot to
middle, blocked. And that is something we did not see from St. John's, winning the one-on-ones either offensively or defensively in the first two.
And that'll bring a lot of fire to your squad. If you can get these rallies that are ending in blocks or ending in a quick, a high tool or anything with a quick swing, that's really going to shift the momentum.
Timeout, DePaul. They trail it 4-0 in the third. Pull that behind your shoulder there. St. John's with a 4-point run to start the third set. Trying to fight back in this one. We're joined now by the head coach of the number 5 team in the country, the Creighton Blue Jays. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Well, you like to talk to you here. Is there anything behind the scenes that maybe fans or people watching at home don't notice about being the host institution?
Well, I think especially, you know, we were on the road last weekend, going on the road again.
And this event, the Big East tournament, has grown so much over the years, and the eyes and the attention on it are so much bigger. It's a really cool thing to see the way the sport, and especially the sport in this conference, has grown.
You know, Brian, our associate head coach, talked to the team yesterday because, you know, but the fact is we get to have a championship right now and they don't, and I think it's an advantage for our teams. I mean, fortunately our season's not going to end if we were going to get upset, but if we lose on Friday, we go home. We have that pressure that is NCAA.
3 quick points out of that timeout for DePaul, but St. John's battling back here 5-3. Coach, just your team heading into this event, I mean, it's been a marvelous run this season. You've really done great work throughout the
seeing all this is high-level play. So, you know, I think the thing that we're going to need to do is be us, and, you know, and I think they'll do this. They'll know they're going to play a great team on the other side. And I think that's where teams, you know, they look at paper and they say, oh, we're going to win this. Well, everyone's good at the Division I level. So, you know, we're going to need to be ready to serve and pass and, you know, put the ball down at an efficient level, which we've done pretty.
That's Kirsten Bernthal Booth, head coach of the Creighton Blue Jays, sitting in for a little segment here. Always nice to talk to the coach. 6'4". Gotten refocused. There's an ace from Georgia Walter. Have you noticed anything different here in the third set from St. John's?
Yeah,
that has changed after the intermission?
For me, it's really easy to look at both teams and to be able to say, really easy to say that, you know, it does come down to serve and pass, but the margin of error, as we spoke on, is just really small. And if you are getting caught and not doing the little things, it's going to cost you. And so I think right now, here in set 3, I think St. John's has really done a nice job of reframing what the little things are and the importance of finding a way to get their hitters on the net, as well as to stay in these rallies, because the ball is not going to fall for, you know, very easily if you're DePaul. So they have
8-6 the score. Third set, Blue Demons lead it 2-0. And Megan Scholes will do the serving. Good one there from Stambrovska.
Really good job just finding that outside hand. See how disciplined this is, just to see that left hand in Yunku. Just not yet quite over. It's really good eye work there.
Yunku tried to go down the line, didn't get the touch. That's a point to St. John's. They lead at 10-6.
Just a really big miss opportunity there from Yunku, as she had the one-on-one opportunity. DePaul held their middle. They had it. Instead, she tried to go down the line.
It wasn't perfect, but she found a way to get it down. And another timeout for DePaul. They've fallen behind by 5 once again here in the third.
Just the hitting efficiency is just a lot better executed here in set 3.
DePaul University students aren't just preparing for the real world, they're living in it. 98% of new incoming freshmen receive scholarships totaling over $57 million every year. And DePaul helps students find internships, hosting 17,000 every year from leading U.S. companies. Start your future at DePaul. As real as what's next. DePaul University.
Amelia, turn off alarm. Amelia, weather?
70 degrees and sunny today.
Amelia, unlock the door.
I'm afraid I can't do that, Jen.
Why not?
Did you forget something?
My protein shake.
The future isn't scary. Not investing in it is.
You're so dramatic, Amelia.
Bye, Jen.
100 innovative companies.
Well, you heard Joanne Persico in our intermission interview say we got to hit better than 150. I'd say 667 is better than 150.
Yeah, I would agree. That's a much better job here in set 3, as I really look to the setters of St. John. I don't know how well early on in set 1 and set 2 that they were locating those sets, and I would also say that the defense didn't help them out a whole ton. So you're just seeing a much more cohesive unit from St. John's.
It's a point to St. John's. The timeout doesn't stymie the run. It's now 4 in a row for the Red Storm.
You're seeing DePaul ask coach just to go and take another quick look. There she went for the seam.
She did.
Learned from her mistake last time. When you get it, you gotta go for it. You can see the middle's just a little bit late in closing, so she gets the one-on-one, and that's where you're gonna see that seam open up.
Yuku now up to 7 kills. This will be Kudiamat. Jones got it through the block.
She really likes to swing cross court, so if I was DePaul, I would find a way to move my outside in a little bit, put more pressure on her. As she's very effective, whether it's tooling that high.
And it's a point to DePaul, 13-8.
DePaul has done a nice job of finding their middles. Really good look there from the... We're seeing 2, in my opinion, missed opportunities from St. John's. They're trying to run their middle. It's a really good idea, but when they're undersetting that middle, what is going to matter here in set 3, especially when they came out with that large lead here.
We've been talking a lot about Erin Jones today and how efficient she is and all the different things that she can do for a team. She's up to 8 kills, 10 assists, and 5 digs. She's been a triple-double machine, and she's
just a wiry a player that she is there in Erin Jones. And the other thing that's a big intangible is no matter if they are up or if they are down, she is always being that fire for the Red Storm. And you have to love to see that. If it's one of the players that you're continuing to talk about, you want to see that as them leading both on and off the court as well.
And if you're not a volleyball insider, like the difficulty in getting just one triple-double, you have to be so versatile in all the things you can do. She's done it 8 times this year.
Yeah, that's very difficult. I mean, you're doing all the things all the time, so your head is almost on a swivel. So you have to know different. What are we doing offensively as a setter? What do I need to do? Do it well, but to do it at this level, you know, it's a really big testament to her to be able to balance all those things and do it so well.
Out of the timeout, Mannion gets the ace. Not able to get anything on it. 13-11 now.
And DePaul, they dig really well. They dig in transition very, very well. So, you know, St. John's, they have to get that connection right, because if they don't, is going to help push the needle to force this into a set 4.
And the operation much better on that point for St. John's as Walter uses the block to great effect.
Staying behind the ball, working with range, finishing across her body. Just a really explosive route there. And then Erin Jones on that outside pin, knowing her blocking assignment, tracking.
Deep serve from Solano Smith. Didn't drop like she wanted it to.
When she's so far back, I mean, she's almost in the chairs when she's serving. You get a gym that has a little bit of air movement, and that ball could either fly out of bounds or it can just drop at the last minute.
Comes up with a big one.
It really comes down to who is able to get that tool or the seam. I mean, if you're able to go after those hands, or if you're able to get that clean middle swing or that clean route where you can run a quick to a pin and open up a seam, really that's what it's coming down to. Both teams are doing a fun. Let's see if we see a challenge here. I thought there was a touch.
I thought there was a touch as well.
And it had to be definitive. The call on the floor is that it was not over, and so it has to definitively show that there was a touch. And if their challenge,
the original call was no touch, point to DePaul. St. John is challenging a touch.
It certainly looked like that ball was touched before it landed. And the call was 4 contacts on the St. John's side, so that's prompted the challenge from Joanne Persico.
And usually you can tell if the ball is below the tape, that's when you typically will be like, okay.
Reversed, there will be a replay, and St. John retains their challenge.
Might be the quickest review in volleyball history.
And that's what Coach Persico wanted. She wants this pace of play to continue to stay at a fast rate. So you can see the ball is above the tape, so it's a very easy call. And I love how efficient they were in getting that reversed.
There's the touch right off the wrist. Go replay the point, still 15-13. St. John's needing to win this set to keep the match alive. Had a big lead early, but DePaul has fought back. Walter off the block and got it.
A really good pass there from Erin Jones to get her setter on that net, and she ran back there as fast as she could, as she, just like that challenge, wants to play with this pace of play.
Jones will serve. Stambrovska, too long. It was an opportunity to extend for St. John's, couldn't take advantage. It's a 2-point game.
And just a difficult route there. There was a lot of traffic on that right side of the floor. So, you know, to try to run that and get Stambrovska on that slide is just a little bit too difficult.
Amanda Sager, the freshman out of San Diego. Tried to go quick to the middle with Zola. Operation wasn't well timed, and now the Blue Demons trail by just 1.
Not much she can do with that. She's in the back row, so anything tight, she has to be able to keep it on.
Off the hands of Lodi, and we are tied at 16.
Close in on a one-point score here in set 3. Actually tied.
A timeout for St. John's. Here's the last point again. And one thing I'm noticing, Shannon, is DePaul is targeting Lucrezia Lodi when she's in the back row, both with serves and with swings, almost every time.
Yeah, if you can put a team out of system, so anything in your scouting report that shows they're struggling passing and they're taking the setter off of the net. That's super important because that's what St. John's does well. St. John's is physical. St. John's can play fast. And so if your scouting report says that the passing percentage of a certain player is a little bit lower, that's going to typically help defending. That's kind of something that you say as a coach is we are all defending the middle. It's not just our middle blockers that's defending their middle, or our middles and blockers just defending their fast pace. It's our serve that has to take the ball off of the net. It's our passing. If we're able to pass on top of the net, then we're able to play with pace, which is then going to put pressure on them to not be able to. And so, you know, you do that not just in the rally, it's how you start, you know, from that serve and pass.
And from an efficiency standpoint, you see it right there on the screen. The hitting percentage can tell you the story sometimes, and it's kind of telling the story today.
Yeah, and you have to be conditioned to stay, you know, with that stamina. And St. John's did a really good job of coming out and doing those little things, but you have to be able to do it for a long period of time. And you know, Coach Zidek talked about that, is that we have to be able to do what we're doing really well for another hour, or maybe even 2. So it can't just be doing it well for 5 points, but we have to be mentally checked in to do it well over a long period of time.
Good in-system swing from Stambrovska out of the timeout. Blocked, but falls on the St. John's side. Yamir Yavuz.
And to me, if DePaul comes back and wins this here, they were trailing for most of this set 3. That point right there, that's a big one, because not only did they do a great job of getting that block touch, you have to have somebody digging that ball.
The back. The dig for couldn't get it over the tape, and it's a point to St. John's, a much needed one. It feels right now like St. John's needs to stay in front in this 3rd set, trailing 2-0, falling behind could be the dagger.
Could be the dagger. They're going to need their defense to step up.
She puts it down, tied at 18.
They have a beautiful connection between Sager and Scholes. Very well executed. You're seeing DePaul doing a really good job of, if they're not able to get that clean connection, they're putting a lot of pressure on the Red Storm, but you just see it there again, that beautiful connection. Just with Scholes is just going off here today in Omaha.
Abby Cahill checks in, the serving specialist. DePaul takes the lead in set 3.
Just another ball handling error from St. John's. Struggling passing, putting that pressure on them. And if you're Aaron Jones, I think you could have been able to take that with 2. And I understand trying to play
it.
Back and forth we go.
Huge break for St. John's on the service error. Now they need a good one from Kowalczyk.
And they also get Aaron Jones in the front row. So right here, this is exactly where you want to be if you're St. John's. Really good job there by Presley, working the outside edge. She's got the 1 block up. And if she goes straight into zone 6, she's going right into those hands. So just a really well executed play to shape and work that crossbody into zone 1.
20-19. Excuse me, that was Kindleberger on the far side. Yavuz is subbed out, and Kindleberger able to score. She has not had the kind of match that you would expect. That's a big one.
She comes in for me when they need a big point. She's the one that, whether it's going down the line or hitting that cross court, she's done a nice job hitting 385.
Toss. And now it's a 3-point lead for DePaul.
Wouldn't be surprised here to see them finding Aaron Jones, whether she hits on that outside pin as she's stacked up in row 1. So she's opposite of Kowalczyk, so they could either run her on a 2 ball, which is up the middle, or they could keep her on that outside pin.
Anna Franca Benjamin has checked in. Coach Persico trying to pull the right levers to stay in this match. Trailing by 3 in the third and down 2 sets to none.
Working all day is that high cross court swing. Again, if I was DePaul, I would be moving that block in. I have not yet seen her swing down that line. In any way that you can make her uncomfortable, you're going to want to do it here. As with her in the front row, they're going to want to find her.
Freshman from Brazil into serve. Jones puts it down. Johnny's within 1.
Jones with the hot hand. Seeing that seam. Really good set, though, by Kowalczyk, because if she would have aired it out just a little bit longer, DePaul would have had time to get 2 blockers on her, and so she saw the seam and went for it.
Tension here at the close of set 3. Gets it down.
Kindleberger.
Kindleberger again.
She's kind of that dagger right now. She is doing a very good job of finding success on that right side pin. Not only is she able to be successful off of 1, but being able to go off of 2, running it as a right side or a slide, very effective.
All Big East middle for DePaul. Kindleberger again, and it's match point DePaul.
That versatility is huge to be able to have, and when you know that you have the hot hand in Kindleberger right now, finding her and staying well executed within your offensive scheme, very well executed.
Nora Mannion. For the Blue Demons in Omaha.
Just a really quality team. And that fight together, it's a really, really great match there today from them.
And what about...
She did, and I love the balance attack that you're seeing, not only from Presley, but Kindleberger stepped up, and man, Scholes was also outstanding here today, hitting 727. So you see those numbers, and you also have to give
that will make the folks who've made the trek from Chicago out here to Omaha very happy today. They get a sweep here in the Big East tournament. And we're joined now by Jill Presley, who had herself quite a match today. Jill, coming into this one, did you think it was possible that you'd win this one in 3 over a tough St. John's team?
You know, we came into this match super strong-headed. We had a rough few weeks, but this team has worked so hard, and I know that it was possible to win in 3, and I'm just super proud of how we got here and all the hard work that's led up to it.
You talk about all the hard work that you've had this season. Statistically, one of your best. What do you attribute that to?
Honestly, my teammates. You know, they allow the block to open up for me, all the front row, and so I think that's the only people I can thank right now, because that's how I got to this moment, and it's super exciting.
Jill Presley, 15 kills, couple of aces, and 6 blocks on the day, filling up the stat sheet. Congrats on the win.
Thank you so much.
All right. Wow, what a performance from Jill Presley today. I mean, in your last year on campus, that's exactly what you want, right?
Absolutely. Not only is she leading on the court, but off the court, giving the kudos to her team. Just really well done.
Now, let's get a chat with the head coach now. Marie Zedek joins us. Coach, we talked to you at intermission. You said we got to be ready to go for an hour. It didn't take that long. St. John's started that 3rd set really hot. They came out firing. How did you change the momentum?
You know, we just try to keep it within 2 to 3 points, and that was a big focus of ours. And then we have players like Jill make plays. And I thought a couple other things. I mean, Yagmira Vuds wasn't getting set a lot all night, and she took probably 2 of the biggest swings in that set in an out-of-system situation and got 2 kills. And that's what's kept the games close enough, and then our playmakers closed it out. So just total team effort there. Just really proud of the group.
I think you guys did a really nice job today just doing the little things which really set you guys up for that success. You also had Megan Scholes, who hit 727, 11 total attempts, 8 kills, 0 errors. I mean, not only is that super efficient, but you can't do that if you don't have that positive first touch.
For sure, and we had good passing, and I kudos a lot to my associate head coach, AD. He had a chat with Megan about how don't wait until next year to be the stud, the player, and do it while you have other players around you that have all that experience. And I didn't even know that stat line. I, to be honest, wasn't looking at stats at all that match. It was more in-the-moment coaching, but that's awesome for her.
All right, Coach, congrats on the win. You move on to the semifinal.
Thank you.
All right, Marie Zedek and the Blue Demons. Yeah, fist pump. Moving on to the semis to face the host, Creighton Blue Jays.
Will be an exciting match. Look forward to it.
Back with you here in Omaha, and Invesco QQQ, the official ETF of the Big East, is bringing you Big East Volleyball. Well, for DePaul, it's a dream scenario. You get a sweep in the first round, you get Thanksgiving off, and then you come back on Friday, and you get the chance to pull off the biggest upset in college volleyball, perhaps of the entire season, and take down the #5 team in the country. But for the Blue Demons and Marie Zedek, this is proof of the process and getting her team to this point.
Yeah, I really like the way they played today. I really like how they worked together on all levels of the game, whether it was serving, whether it was in the backcourt, whether it was offensively. I thought that they played a very cohesive match, and it was a lot of fun to watch, and I'm really looking forward to that matchup against Creighton.
Yeah, we've got one more here tonight as well, as the UConn Huskies will take on the Villanova Wildcats. Match number 1 of the day. Blue Demons move on. We thank you for joining us here on Flow Sports for the Big East Volleyball Tournament.